All right, so I thought I would just kind of talk you through my fitness journey and how I got started and all of that kind of stuff. So backing it way up, first of all, for reference, I am 49 years old, almost 50. And so when I was a kid, obviously I grew up in the age before computers and any major technology. So I was a really active kid. We had a in-ground swimming pool, and my friends and I would swim all day or ride bikes. I was also active, in sports and dance, more in dance. Like I started dancing when I was 7, and that was definitely like my love, my like one, like activity that like I was really, really into. I did participate in some sports. So like in middle school, I did basketball, much to the chagrin of every other person on the basketball team. Quick little story, I scored one basket my whole career, and it was for the other team. So that just kind of shows my skills, my ability. But let's see, I did cross country, track. I was a cheerleader. So I was really active as a kid. And in high school, I went away to college. I was a dance major, so that kept me really busy and provided a lot of activity. But if you've ever taken a dance class, or if you're a dancer, you know that it's not like consistent. Like it doesn't count as cardio. It doesn't count as strength. I mean, it's definitely activity, but it's like you dance for, a minute and then you rest, or then you're learning more choreography, but like you're not full out doing dancing for like a big chunk of time, right? So I never really thought of it as exercise. I didn't gain the freshman 15, but I did gain weight in college, but probably more closer to like my last year. I did have a professor, one of my dance professors once told me that I should lose some weight. And I did not heed her advice. I mean, at that time I remember being really offended because I was definitely never overweight, ever in my life. I did, and I didn't have a scale like when I was in college, so I don't know how much I weighed, but I did go to a gym and get like a personal training assessment and like that whole little spiel that they give you, when you join a gym. After I graduated from college, I moved to Seattle, and I started to notice like, yeah, my face is, I really noticed it in my face as more than anything. Like when we would get pictures, I remember after my college graduation, and I was like, wow, my face is fat. I remember my brother one time told me that it looks like I've been drinking a lot of milk. Those comments like really stick with somebody. Anyways, the first time I remember stepping on the scale after college was, the year I moved to Seattle. So I was 22 and I weighed 150, like 150. For reference, I'm 5'6.5" now, but I was 5'7" then. So, I mean, that's not like obese or anything. I did want to lose a few pounds. So that was my first kind of real venture into a workout plan. All right, so there's been a little pause in between my last segment. It's the next day, but I just thought I would pick up. So I think where we left off is somewhere around when I moved to Seattle and I first went to the gym and found out, my weight was 150. And I just want to say, like, if you are 5'7" and you weigh 150, I mean, that is not, I'm not saying that you should try to lose weight. I'm just saying on my body, it didn't feel comfortable. For a reference point, right now I weigh 138. But my body composition is, a lot different because I have more muscle. So, it all just depends. So I am not saying if you weigh 150 that you should also go on a diet. I just had some body fat that I wanted to lose. So anyways, I went through, I just kind of followed a training plan that this, personal trainer at the gym gave me. I did follow some kind of diet, but I'm not sure, like, not like a specific kind of diet, but I think I just counted calories, and I think I don't know how I came up with it, but it worked. So, to lose weight, you have to create a deficit, and you can do that with your movement and your food intake. So, I kind of got to my goal and felt great. And then, fast forward a few years, got married, had my first child, and wanted to lose the baby weight. So I think, that's when I really started to take up running again. Of course I had run like here and there, since I was in cross country and in track in high school, but never really ran, too much. I would, just go out for 20 minutes or something, like every once in a while. And so I really started to take up running, which is a great exercise in terms of, you burn a lot of calories for, like you're going to burn more calories than you are if you're going to go for a walk, right? Because it's more intense. Also, it doesn't require equipment except for a good pair of running shoes. You don't have to have a gym membership. You can just walk right out your door. So it's very time efficient, which I think is great for a new mom. So I did that, and I really, and then I, was also monitoring my food. And I think that's probably when I was starting to use MyFitnessPal and tracking my calories. And I was just going off what like MyFitnessPal would, recommend for me. And I certainly wasn't eating enough protein. But I definitely lost weight, and I probably was, lost too much weight. Maybe not so much until after I had Jude. So 3 years after I had my first child, Chase, our daughter, I had Jude. And after that is probably when I had this long stretch, I would say between like 2010 and 2015. Exercise really became like my stress reliever, which it is, and that's healthy. But I was probably using it to extremes. And, I was still doing a lot of running. I was doing marathons. I was also doing a lot of classes at the time. So like spin classes, boot camp classes. And, I wasn't really feeling my body properly. So I was just small, like I didn't really have, I might have looked like I had some muscle definition just because I was so thin. But I really didn't, it was like, it just wasn't the look like I thought it was back then. But now looking back, I'm like, wow, I was just really, really small. And, it probably just got to a point where it was too much, like I was, over exercising, just to put it simply, and not to go into it too much. But, and then I just remember after I had Lulu, just thinking, you know what, I am done with like all the cardio and like all the running and being on an elliptical for 90 minutes or going out for a run for 2 hours. It's just like, I'm just done. I'm tired of it. It's not getting me to like really look like I want to look like. And my husband this whole time, he's just been like, why don't you lift weights? Why don't you build muscle? And, of course I was lifting weights, like in a boot camp class or something, but it's not like a training plan where you're like progressively overloading. And, I'm just like 10-pound dumbbells, doing my little thing, mostly to burn calories. And if you know anything about bodybuilding or weightlifting, you don't do it to burn calories. You do it to build muscle. Cardio is to burn calories. So anyways, probably late 2006, or yeah, probably when Lulu was maybe like 8 months old or over maybe a year old. I'll just say 2017. I really switched gears, and I cut out all the cardio. I still was doing cardio for like heart health, and I still do cardio for heart health. But my main focus was lifting. And so that's kind of how it all started. So let's see, that's been 8 years now. And yeah, so my lowest weight that I was maintaining, like when I was doing that big cardio stint and overexercising, I was probably maintaining around like 115 pounds. And like I said, I weigh 138 right now, which, I'm kind of at the peak of my building season and, had started a prep. So I will see that weight come down a little bit, but not to the point of, like not that low, right? So that brings me kind of to my next point, and I'll show some pictures here. I won't go into too much, but when I started competing, so I just decided, I'm doing all this stuff. I might as well like have some sort of goal to work towards. So I decided to do my first competition. I did that in 2020. I did my own kind of like COVID prep, mostly coached myself. I got a coach maybe the last 4 weeks just to kind of like dial me in. So I competed in 2020. I did not compete in 2021, but I competed in 2022, 2023, 2024, and then just started a prep for 2025. But lately, in the past like week or two, I've really been contemplating whether or not I'm going to finish out this prep. And I made a final decision this weekend, and not because of any sort of protocol, not because I don't love working with my coach, not because I don't love the sport of bodybuilding, not because I don't love following bikini as a division, but just for me, for right now, I have so much going on that I just feel, because competing is kind of a selfish sport, and I just feel like I don't want to do that right now. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't know. There's just like, I can't, it's not a heck yes. So it's gotta be a heck no, right? Like I keep finding myself thinking, and a lot of it is financial, just because could I compete? Yes, financially, but we have so many things going on. Like my daughter's getting married. I'm turning 50 in June. We have our 25th wedding anniversary this year also. And so there's a lot of things that like I'm really looking forward to, and that also will use some finances. And competing is expensive. And if I was to carry out and do this national show, it's about $6,000. And that doesn't include like food and gym memberships and gym clothes. I mean, I'm not like factoring all that stuff in because I'm going to do that anyways. Like I'm still going to do all the things. I just am not going to get on stage. And if you have talked to me before about competing, you know that I love everything except stage day. So I've just been contemplating and thinking like, I keep finding myself thinking like, when prep is over, then I'll be able to do this. And I'm starting to not even enjoy the process. And I love the process usually. And it's just stage day that I don't really love. And that's some people, it's just like, ask some people and they feel that way too. It's not totally abnormal, because you might be like, well, why are you even doing it then? I mean, I don't like hate stage day, but it's not my favorite thing. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to do all these things anyways, the 30 seconds on stage to have a shot at getting my pro card. And I don't even want that right now. Like I'm not saying I don't want my pro card right now, but I don't want to sacrifice the finances and the emotional energy that a prep takes, and I don't know if I already said this, but this national show would be about $6,000. So that's, yeah, I think I did say that because I was saying it wasn't like food and stuff. So that's like coaching, that's your registration fee, that's travel, your hotel, hair, tan, makeup. So a lot of those things, like it would be a new suit also. So that's obviously reusable, but a lot of those things are not, like you pay for them and it's done, right? So it's like, it's not stuff I would use over. Like all of this is like a one-time expense, and it totals about $6,000. So could I do it? Yeah. But I just feel, like I said earlier, like I'm just not wanting to. And so why should I? I'm really struggling with the financial piece. And I don't have to do that to myself, right? Like, nobody's forcing me to compete, and I can still do all the things and just not get on stage. And that's not even the part I love anyways. So kind of seems like a no-brainer. So I canceled my flight, canceled the hotel. Sorry. When I took that sip of water, I just hasn't really there. I think that's better. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a little lifestyle mini cut. So I'm no longer 12 weeks out, but I have a goal to just drop a few pounds. So follow me along on that journey. And you know what? Maybe it will be more applicable to you because it will be more of like a lifestyle cut. And I'm really excited about it. Like I'm excited for my decision. I struggled with it a lot because I don't know, nobody cares. Like nobody's going to be like, oh my gosh, you said you were going to do it. You're such a quitter. I'm not saying I'm never going to compete again. I'm just making this decision. That's all there is to it. All right, so we'll just wrap it up. Because there's no need to, just go round and round in circles when I've made this decision. So, just I guess some like other things. So it's now Tuesday. So, I've been sitting with this over the weekend. I mean, like my final decision over the weekend, but, kind of just wondered if I was going to wake up with regret, I think I made like the final, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like every day I was like a little bit closer to like having clarity and being okay with the decision. And then when I woke up yesterday, it was just like, I didn't feel any regret at all. I just kind of felt relief. So, I mean, that's a sign there, right? Like, and just what I want to focus on in my life right now, it doesn't, and kind of like where I want to put my energy and almost sort of like the legacy. I don't know, this kind of sounds really deep and I don't usually talk like this, but it's like the legacy I want to leave behind. It does not require a pro card. So that's how I feel right now. Like, like I said, we've got big birthdays coming up, anniversaries, my daughter getting married, and I just want to be so present for that. So present for everything and just not feel like I'm doing multiple things at like 80%. It's like I want to be able to give 100%. And I feel like I'm really good at balancing things. Like I feel like when I'm in prep, I'm still doing my job, obviously. I'm still, showing up for my family. But prep does take a lot, mentally, physically, financially, and to just realize like, hey, I can still do all of those things. I can still be a bodybuilder. I can still do all the parts that I love. And I can also do all the other things and not have to have it be such a deadline or, like this burden of expectation kind of that I'm putting on myself. Like I have to do well, so anyways, cause that's kind of another thing. It's like, so the national shows, so the first so I was going to do Universe and like, that's all I was going to do. But then there are 2 other national shows this summer and I just know myself. And it's like, either way, I'm going to have like what people refer to as like summit fever when you're like so close. So you just keep going. So on one hand, like if I went to Universe and I got 5th place, I would be like, oh my God, I'm so close. Let's just keep going. Let's just like, I don't know, break out the charge cards and let's just do another show. And what if I kept doing that, and just, so I don't know. That's not really like a main point. So I don't really want to end there because that's like a small little detail, but it is part of my personality. So, but wrapping it up just to say, I am so happy with my decision. And if you have tough decisions to make in your life, give yourself time to process both sides of the situation. And, I did the whole, I wrote a pros and cons list, and, that, I don't know, it helps. So anyways, I'm going to continue doing these YouTubes. I'm going to continue doing this and just show you more of, what I'm getting up to. So I hope you follow along and maybe gain some information or get inspired, because that is one of the main things that I love hearing is, people will just say oh, you just inspire me to get to the gym, or you inspire me to live a healthier lifestyle. So I just want to continue doing that. And yeah, so end of story. Thank you for watching.